Friends, this evening we join in a global wave of light to remember the beautiful souls of all the precious children who are gone too soon. We gather in solidarity under the starlight of our universal sky to light candles, to spread warmth, to share love, to honor your grief, and to speak hope. Families are meeting across the globe tonight as a form of sharing the common ground of love and light in a season that naturally amplifies the ache in your heart to a high intensity. In the spirit of solidarity, we stand together virtually, standing together with deep and painful understanding of experiencing that empty chair, with a shared knowing that you wish you didn't know and you wish you didn't share. There's a solace in knowing that one is not alone. And though we're not literally together, I hope you feel the connection this evening in this communal gathering of parents and family members. You stand together on common ground. The theme of tonight's ceremony is sharing their lights. And we're so honored to have Jan Stewart with us to share how she shares, she and Barry's son, Kenny's light. Thank you so much for being here tonight, Jan. And with the thought of sharing their light in mind, we join in the worldwide wave of light right now. We come in memory of sons and daughters, grandsons and granddaughters, brothers and sisters, moms and dads, spouses, aunties and uncles, nieces and nephews, cousins. And we light their candles, shining their lights out into this dark evening like beacons of love, so that they know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we continue to carry their lights in our hearts. And so from your home, I invite you to light your candle and to bask in that light. Say their name. And while we say their names, we trust that they draw near, hearing and warm. In memory of all children gone too soon, I light this ball of light, that their lights may always shine. As we look into the light and listen, I share this poem, some excerpts of a poem entitled Eternal Flames, written by Margaret Trudeau, Forrest's dad. And it was written for the Compassionate Friends Worldwide Candle Lighting. This is a night like no other, in the days now all too the same, when we stand with one another and share our eternal flames. For in this gentle expression of the light from each candle's glow shines hope amidst our depression and the truths we've all come to know. That death steals more than theirs only, these unfinished lives we bemoan. But though we are sad and lonely, trust that we need not walk alone. The love and loss that we all feel, stark reality, muddled doubt, our minds struggle to bear what's real and learn what grief's all about. How do we make them alive again? We ask as we look to the sky. Where do we pose our questions when the endless question is why? The truth, love burns eternal, much like Mother Earth's molten core. With each turn, grief grows less infernal, while love still grows all the more. So tell me, dear friend, your story, and I will regale you with mine. We'll bask in the glow and the glory, so their lights may always shine. So their lights may always shine. That's what tonight is all about. Shining their light and sharing their lights And in that light, it's my deep honor to have Jan Stewart with us to share Kenny's light and offer inspirations from her journey. Thank you so much, Jan, for being here.
I'm going to start by acknowledging my privilege and that I am on Treaty 4 territory in the homeland of the Métis people. And I'm going to just start by sharing a gratitude ritual that I have. And so this evening, I am grateful for my husband, Barry, for traveling this road with me. I am deeply grateful to my daughters, Deidre and Terry, who are always there for me, their dad, and each other, no matter what. I am grateful for my son, Ken, who taught me so much in his life and in his death. I'm really grateful for time with family. This weekend has been so special as we've been together to celebrate our oldest daughter's 40th birthday. We've also had our younger daughter's family with us as they are in the middle of a move from Winnipeg to Calgary, and we are lucky enough to be the halfway point. So all 11 of us, 5 dogs, a ferret, and a swearing parrot, have had much time together, and as always, there's been much laughing and pure joy. We spent this afternoon with extended family sharing a face-to-face family homemade Christmas, which is a COVID-inspired event that my niece started last year as we all learned how to be together while being apart. I am so grateful for everything that we have learned and are learning through this pandemic. I was also able to deliver to them their Christmas gift, which is inspired by my son, Ken. I am and continue to be grateful for grief groups, special services like this one, and grief supports of all kind, which allow us to fully engage with our grief and all the challenges it presents. And finally, I'm grateful for all of the love and the light that's present in this virtual space. Della asked me to speak tonight, sharing how we as a family have shared our son's light since his passing. As a family, we've done this in many ways, and I believe that we will continue to find ways to do this as it is the important work of grief. With gratitude and a hint of lingering sadness, you are all well aware of the importance of bringing our beloved children with us on this journey. Bereaved parents, grandparents, and siblings simply and sadly get it. So here's a list of highlights that I came up with of how we have shared Ken's light, both during the Christmas season and throughout the year. Our first Christmas, 2013, it was really quite fresh. But after hearing from a friend of Ken's who we'd never met until his passing, that Ken loved a book called The Book of Awesome, we scoured chapters and other book sources to purchase enough copies to distribute that book as a gift. And that Book of Awesome kind of really ties into this whole theme of gratitude that you're going to notice that I talk about a lot. We created memory picture books for his sisters, his children, and his widow in February of 2014 to keep his light shining. Barry created a sacred space, a front patio area. We designed and filled it with things that honor him and allow for quiet space to sit and connect with him. And that would have been the spring and summer of 2014. On a regular basis, we send up wish papers when we're all together. And we try to do this on some of those significant days and some of those days that we just happen to be together. And sending up wish papers provides us an outlet. And again, as we turned on the lights and the paper provide us with the light that we need. We've gifted family members socks each Christmas in memory of Ken's exuberant energy at Christmas that allowed him to be extremely excited about receiving even socks. Together with the local lacrosse association, we created a scholarship in Ken's name. And then for 4 years as a family, we hosted a fundraiser during the week in November that holds both his birth date and his death date. And in doing so, raised funds for the scholarship fund, and we continue to award that scholarship yearly. All of us literally have shrines in all of our homes that pay tribute to him and remind us of him, which allow us to keep our connection to him. We've had teddy bears made and quilts made from his clothing. Barry created metal family trees to gift to family for Christmas following the creation of a floor-size model that sits in our living room year-round and holds pictures and special symbols and reminders of Ken's life and continued presence. In 2017, I started contracting the potter across the street to create functional pieces of pottery with a smiley face, our icon of hope, to gift family at Christmas, and as a way to bring them with us each year. And you can see that my background, my screen background holds that symbol, that smiley face. And I'll read you more about that in a minute. In last year, right before lockdown, we distributed acts of kindness with information about who he was to recipients in honor of him in that week that I call Hell Week, from November 9th to November 15th. So those are just like a few of the ways that come to mind. There are several. Let me back up and explain some of the fuel behind the types of things that we engage in memory of our boy Ken. Very early on this journey, although I was operating deep in the fog of mourning, as we all do in the early days, I had two very distinct moments of clarity. I think many of you can relate. I know that Barry had his own moments, the ones you'll never forget. In writing them now, I can go back and tell you with great detail exactly what was happening for me. I consider myself naturally a reflective thinker, and so I have a reel of thinking playing in my brain most of the time. In a moment of despair early on, where my overriding thought was, how am I going to get through this? A gentle calm came over me, and my heart, or my soul, or both, spoke to me, and she said, with grace and love, it is the only way. The second moment was my first day back to work, as I was in my office and had another overriding thought only moments ahead of addressing the entire school family. Again, my overriding thought was, how am I going to get through this? And the voice said, with grace and love. And then I asked him, what does that look like? And then that welcome feeling of calm in the voice said, gratitude. And with that, I picked up a stone from the shelf in my office and I led the first gratitude circle ritual of many to come. Gratitude was the first tool that I used to live with my grief, which I now know is my love, and to do so gracefully. I've used the phrase sending or wrapping you in love and light for many years, even ahead of Ken's passing. In my own personal spiritual journey, for me, the concept of connection and energy vibrations simply feels more authentic than saying the likes of sending prayers or praying for you. To me, both love and light are a form of vibrational energy. So when Ken died, this idea was more deeply woven into who I am. People who know my son know what I speak of when I describe his vibrational energy. It was palpable and undeniable. One of our last conversations was around these concepts, as well as we talked about my newly polished rocks and the energy within them. Since his death, I've been able to maintain connection with him by using the vibrational energies of love and light. So this brings me to my latest project, which combines the pottery referred to up above and to the concept of tapping into our vibrational energies of love and light. This past summer, I was pondering what piece of pottery I would ask Karen to create as family Christmas gifts. Terry was at our house for a visit, and she said, I think you should ask Karen to make candle holders, and you should give people candles this Christmas. And so it started. I met with Karen and after that, and together we designed the candle holders. I reached out to my fellow bereaved mom, Jenny, who creates the perfect candles in memory of her beloved son, Jordan, and I was on my way to creating the newest piece for family members. I found as we moved through fall and we're headed toward another Hell Week, and my family candles were all poured, I started thinking, okay, now what? I typically engage in some kind of project as a way of coping with the torrential waves that occur for me in November. I love pouring candles. It's one of those activities that I can actually get lost in. I don't pour perfect candles, but they're poured with the deepest love. Candles are so symbolic to me of everything I believe about the vibrational energies contained within love and light. As I burn my own candles, I feel the sense of calm. Connection becomes more natural and free-flowing. As the candle burns, sometimes it burns beautifully from the inside out, and sometimes it struggles and needs an energy source from the outside. This describes my journey in grief as well. To me, it's a perfect analogy. Sometimes we light the way for others, and sometimes others for us. Sometimes we burn out altogether and we need reigniting. Like candles, we can be a source of light, and we can be the receivers of light. So one morning it came to me in one of those moments of clarity. I could pour gratitude candles in memory of Ken and sell them. And the Find Something Good gratitude candles were born, launched on November 9th, which is his birth date. So this work of heart and opportunity to provide funds for a group I'm passionate about, Journey to Hope. This is my current project that I do in honor of my son, the lessons he taught me, and to share his light and love with the world. In closing, I'm just going to read to you what the story that I've included with the purchase of any of the Find Something Good gratitude candles that I have. It's also pinned. It's the pinned post on my Find Something Good Facebook page. This candle is created in memory of Ken Stewart. Ken was tragically killed in a motor vehicle accident November 15th, 2013. For some time ahead of his untimely death, Ken struggled with anxiety, depression, and alcoholism. On September 5th, 2013, he was working in the oil fields in southeast Saskatchewan, servicing an oil well when it splashed oil everywhere. Everything became covered in oil, including Ken. He looked down at the rig and saw the smiley face among the oil splatter. He snapped the picture depicted on the candle and posted on Facebook. Drop of oil that looks like a smiley face. Find something good, even in the shitty situations. A moment of clarity for him at the time, now an icon of hope for our family. It is our hope that however you practice gratitude, whether you write it in a journal, speak it in a gratitude circle, or whisper it when you light this candle, that you find something good in every situation. Love and light to each of you.
Jan, thank you so much. I'm one of the people that have purchased one of these and the recipient of one, and I'm so grateful. And as I was sitting here and the crackling of the candle was going the whole time, Jan, and it's an active candle. And I thought, isn't that appropriate? Because Ken was such an active fellow, very high energy, and this candle has been just moving the whole time. Thank you for sharing your love and your light for Ken. And thank you for sharing all of your insights and your ideas. And I can only imagine how that's maybe planted some seeds for people in this circle this evening for their own lives. And in a little while, I'm going to just invite people to maybe share ways that you have already been doing that, sharing of memory and story and inspiration of your loved ones. So Jan, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I themed this year sharing their light, and I thought it went very well with what Jan has been doing and that project. And I wrote just a little reflection to go with that. What if sharing their light actually lights the path for your journey forward? A path of meaning and purpose, of connection and companionship, of courage and encouragement. Grief author David Kessler writes, "People often think there's no way to heal from severe loss. I believe that's not true. You heal when you can remember those who have died with more love than pain. When you find a way to create meaning in your own life in a way that will honor theirs. It requires a decision and a desire to do this. But finding meaning is not extraordinary, it's ordinary. It happens all the time, all over the world." Now, David Kessler, I just need to note, is not only a grief author and a grief specialist, but he's a dad who knows. He journeys the loss of his child. As I journey with the bereaved, I have seen the look in the eyes of parents and families when they share their love light for their beloved. A story, a quality, a sign, an insight. There's a glow about them. It's a glow that comes from deep within, and I call it their love light. And I've seen that love light in Jan's eyes many times over the years. But as I wrote here, especially when she shares Kenny's Christmas sock story, you know, the boy that was over the top excited for a pair of socks at Christmas, right? But when she shares it, her eyes light up. I've heard the tone of a parent's voice soften as they say their child's name, and the way they say it is like there's a light wrapped all around it. And I've witnessed the inspired purpose that arises from a parent or a family member doing something in their child's memory or their sibling's memory, from making candles like Jan's Find Something Good initiative to writing books like our friend Melanie Delorme and Lisa Bain, to decorating a gravestone with seasonal decor, to gifting handmade ornaments in memory. There's so many ways I've witnessed it and seen that light. The love light shines brightly from deep within, from their hearts right out of their eyes. As I reflect on that, it makes me think, if we keep their love light out in the open and in front of us, bringing them into the present in a whole new way, is it possible that sharing their light might light our way and lead us forward in a meaning-filled direction that leaves you feeling on purpose, connected, and fulfilled? Lisa Bain writes in her book, Journey to Healing, "When I first started carrying my suitcase of grief, the darkness and heaviness of the despair was more than I could handle. It was easier to lay on the floor with my suitcase smothering me than it was to think about anything else. But once I made the decision to get up and live with my grief, I was able to open that big, ugly bag and see all the beauty inside. That beauty was all the love and meaning that Katie's life was and always will be to me. Once I was brave enough to focus on the incredible light inside my grief, the more I was able to focus on living, healing, and learning to carry my suitcase of grief." She focused on Katie's incredible light. Tonight, as we look at these lights and their pictures representing these beautiful lives of your children, I ask you to consider how you will continue to share their light once this candle burns down. How will you continue to bring them into the present and experience the gift they can continue to be in your lives? Margaret Trudeau shared the sense of peace it gave her heart when she and a group of bereaved families worked with the Canadian Avalanche Foundation to help build a chalet for backcountry skiers and hikers with all the latest equipment for providing weather bulletins, avalanche warnings, and more. And she did so in the memory of her son, Michel, and 16 others who died in avalanches in that area. And she said, the generators are never off at the cabin, and a light always shines like a beacon. I take comfort in that. Grief author David Kessler says, meaning is relative and personal. Meaning takes time. You may not find it until months or even years after loss. Meaning doesn't require understanding. It's not necessary to understand why someone died in order to find meaning. Even when you do find meaning, you don't feel it was worth the cost of what you lost. Your loss is not a test, a lesson, something to handle, a gift or a blessing. Loss is what happens to you in life. Meaning is what you make happen. Only you can find your own meaning. Meaningful connections will heal painful memories. So sharing their light, as we've heard from parents, we've heard it from Jan, we've heard it from these quotes from people who walked this journey, sharing their light actually can light the path for your journey forward, a path of meaning and purpose, of connection and companionship, of courage and encouragement. Love burns eternal. May their lights always shine, and may their lights enlighten your future with hope, peace, and love. Friends, we close our time with this affirmation. We remember them. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening of the buds and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick of heart, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them. Thank you for sharing your love light with us. Let us go to share their lights in memory and in love, opening in ourselves to the gifts that we receive while doing so. Peace to you.